Ciao, tutto bene. That means hello and all is well in Italian. I'm Sara Kriesel, and today I'm going to be whisking you away to Italy, if only for a few minutes, to talk about their amazing food culture and how you can incorporate some of their most popular ingredients and serving techniques into your own cooking at home. Italian food is simple food. It's made with fresh ingredients and a lot of love, and no doubt a lot of the foods that we'll be talking about today are already on your weekly menu. Renowned Italian chef and cookbook author Carla Capalbo best describes Italian food this way. A great deal of Italian food comes from a contadino or peasant heritage. The best combines fresh ingredients with simple cooking techniques. Meats, fish, and vegetables are simply flavored with herbs and olive oils and then broiled or baked. Aromatic sauces can often be put together in the time it takes pasta water to boil, and many of these recipes can be prepared quickly and economically. Italian food is not only a delicious food, but it's affordable, and that's perfect for beginning cooks and the busy college student like us who are used to eating fast food, frozen food, or worse sometimes. So Italian food is great for us. I hope that you will learn a few methods that you can enjoy the benefits of cooking Italiano at home. As a second-generation Italian American, I was pretty much raised in the kitchen. I was lucky enough to have my nonna there telling me how to use the ingredients in an authentic Italian way. I've been watching, taste testing, and making these Italian recipes since I was 4 years old. The running joke in my family is Sarah's first love was a tomato. By going over some of the main ingredients in Italian cooking, explaining how the various courses that make up their meals are served, and giving you a few quick recipes, I hope to show you why the culinary traditions of Italy are accessible and delicious. Now, there are several staples in the Italian kitchen, some of which that you're surely familiar with already, and the first that we're going to talk about is pasta. Now, there's lots of different kinds of pastas and there are lots of different uses for them, so certainly feel free to experiment. Pasta is a mainstay of any Italian diet and is originally made with a flour that's called semolina. I love the way Jamie Oliver describes pasta. He says, "Isn't it fantastic that three simple ingredients, eggs, flour, and water, can be mixed and then kneaded together to form an elastic dough that can be rolled, cut, or squashed into a million different shapes and then flavored 1,000 different ways." Fresh herbs are another must-have ingredient for any Italian cook. Like this fresh basil here, it's probably the most popular herb used in Italian cooking. One thing to remember with fresh basil is always tear it away from the stem. Never use a knife to chop it because then you'll be losing all the essential oils. Oregano is another great Italian herb. I usually like dried oregano like this here. The one thing to remember when you're using dried herbs as opposed to the fresh is that these dried herbs are a lot more strong, and so you want to use less of them than you would use if you're using a fresh. And then another herb that I like in Italian cooking is peperoncino, or hot peppers. These are crushed. Most popularly used on pizza. They add a lot of heat and a lot of flavor. I love pizza. Is incredibly popular here in America. It is obviously from Italy originally, but Italians tend to eat it more as a street food, so they eat it just kind of on the go when they need a quick snack. But its popularity here in America is undeniable. It actually was brought over, by Italian immigrants, but it wasn't really popular until the soldiers who had done tours of duty in Italy during World War II came home. They had found it in street vendors in Italy, really were craving it. So that's kind of when pizza exploded in the United States. Now that you know some of the uses for basic Italian ingredients, I can tell you how a real Italian would put them together to form a fabulous lunch. The beginning of an Italian meal is called the antipasti. Antipasti is what we would think of as an appetizer. It's usually consisting of bruschetta, which I'm sure most of you have had before, which is little slices of toasted bread. The Italians rub them with a clove of raw garlic, and then they can be topped with anything. Cheeses, vegetables, tomatoes are usually popular. Next on the Italian menu is primi. So this comes after the appetizer, antipasti, and this usually consists of small plates of pasta, a soup if they're going to serve it, or risottos, which are a creamy rice dish. Next comes insalata, or salads. Now, you'd be thinking that, oh gosh, I'm getting kind of full at this point in the meal, but that's exactly why Italians serve the salad right now. It's light, it's not filling, it's crisp, it's refreshing. They use ingredients like roasted red peppers, olives, tomatoes, and dress it simply with herb vinegar and olive oil. Next is secondi, or second course. In America, this is when we would serve the meat or fish, and that's how Italians do it too. It's their main course. These things are usually simply cooked. Like I said, they're grilled, broiled, olive oil once again, herbs once again. Italians also, though, it's worth mentioning, have really great ways of cooking really inexpensive cuts of meat to make them really flavorful. You know, as Americans, we always want filet mignon, really the best of everything, but Italians know how to take simple cuts of meat like chicken thighs or just the shin of a beef, which is like a beef stew, and they cook it slowly in a technique called braising, and they really bring out the flavor of the meat. So this is when you would find the meat and fish courses during the secondi part of the Italian meal. Now after this, you probably are starting to get full, so it is time for dessert or dolce. Now that we know some of the things that Italians use and how it's brought to the table, I'm going to show you how to utilize these ingredients to make 3 Italian recipes super fast. The following recipes I'm going to show you are beyond easy to make and can add Italian flair to whatever you pair them with. This is how I made pesto. I added basil, garlic, and Parmesan cheese to a food processor. I added a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm going to put the top on now, and then add olive oil in a steady stream. Boom, homemade pesto. This is how you make the basic pomodoro or tomato sauce. In this pan, I've added 1 chopped onion, 2 cloves of chopped garlic, some shredded fresh basil, and my favorite crushed red pepper flakes. I also put in a bay leaf, but that's not Italian. So add a chopped or crushed tomato, 28 ounces, right into the pan. To our onion, our garlic, our basil, crushed red pepper. You'll want to bring this up to a boil and let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. Add some salt and pepper, generous. And after 20 minutes, you'll have fresh pomodoro gravy. And then last but not least, we have dolce presto, as my grandmother calls it. In this bowl, I have 2 pints of sliced strawberries. I'm going to sprinkle them liberally with sugar, and then I'm going to take my balsamic vinegar, just about 2 tablespoons, spread it over everything, give the bowl a good toss, stick it in the fridge, and then in an hour, you'll have a perfect dessert to serve over vanilla bean gelato. We have covered today some of the basics of Italy's culinary traditions. We've looked at some of their most popular ingredients, we've gone over the courses in which they serve their meals, and I've shown you 3 quick recipes that you can add to your culinary repertoire. Italian food truly is how Carla Capalbo described it. Simple, made with fresh ingredients, and it's as easy as it is delicious. If it weren't, would we still be eating close to 100 acres of pizza per second? I urge you to try one of these quick recipes at home, or just maybe add a little fresh basil to your next bowl of spaghetti, even if the gravy came from a jar. If you do, you will be well on your way to cooking Italiano. Prego!